We need to talk about this.
All right, my friends, it is time. We've got to talk about this. Look, I don't want to keep talking about Orange County either, okay? I don't. I really don't. I really don't. But what choice do I have when things get thrown on my desk? I have to go and figure it out. That you guys, if my OG listeners and followers, you guys know I go a digging. And I just can't let things go. If things don't start making sense, I have to go figure out why. So obviously we're here to talk about Orange County. More specifically, we're here to talk about Slade Smiley and his production company, quote unquote production company. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, you will see that I'm going to include my findings. If you're listening, I'm sorry, you're going to just have to listen to me explain it. But if you want to watch it, you can go to my YouTube channel later and go and see the receipts of what I found. Nonetheless, let's start at the top, okay? So first, I want to shout out that one of my followers sent me this Reddit link that took me to a Reddit thread. Basically, someone had dug into Slade's production company, which is called Grayson Entertainment LLC, okay? Grayson Entertainment LLC, and there was a website for it. So it's graysonent.com, and the website's available. You can go look at it for yourself, okay? Soon as I get on the website, immediately red flags everywhere. But again, this is just first impressions. I'm not like going into it already trying to be like, this is a scam. The only reason why I said immediately red flags is because the way the website opens, just to give you guys a little background, I have designed and built out websites on multiple platforms over the last decade, okay? Which means I kind of subconsciously know, oddly, what website platform a website was built on. Just simple little things. So immediately I was like, not that that's a bad thing, by the way. It's not. But it's just something that's subconsciously built into my mind to look for when I'm looking at any website. Nonetheless, so I'm scrolling and I see, as I'm scrolling, it's like all about Grayson. Well, it says Grayson Enterprises on the homepage. So that started another chain of red flag alerts for me, because I'm like, well, wait a second. What's Grayson Enterprises? I thought it was Grayson Entertainment, which is a production company. But anyways, it says that this company started in 2007 and that it has listed a number of networks that it has worked with. Bravo TV, which Bravo, you might want to call Slade and ask him to take that down, because that is incorrect. I don't see how did Grayson Entertainment production company work with which Bravo show? At any rate, CBS, you name it, he's done it. And I have, like I said, I'm going to be popping up screenshots up on the screen as I'm discussing this, because this is from his website for his production company. So I'm looking, I scroll down a little bit further. There's this now, see latest releases. Oh, okay, great. Now it seems like at first glance, it looks like there's just a bunch of like, whether they're documentaries, indie movies, a small budget, whatever. I'm seeing this like little ticker, and it looks like, oh, these are some, let's see what projects he's worked on. I start clicking, takes me to a catalog. Oh, I can actually rent this. Fantastic. Oh, wow, there's a trailer. I'm elated. I'm like, great, something I can actually validate. His production company has done some work. Okay. No, because I click on all of the movie cover art, title, poster page things that they have for movies and things, and they're all just templates. They're just dummies of basically like fake template placeholders for what you want to put in its place. So if I had a production company, I actually worked on productions for shows, I would be populating the art for the TV show in which my production company worked with. That is what's built into the website of his, but it's not real movies. You can't, the trailers are all like the same thing. It's just like random stock video with stock music. Okay, so I'm already like in awe of how dumb someone in this day and age has to be to not only create a whole website, because you got to pay for that, because you got to pay for the hosting, you got to pay for the domain. You bought that domain. Okay. But you didn't even bother to like finish the website. You're not even gonna make sure that all the placeholders and all the pages that had placeholders are at least hidden from the public. Maybe just leave the home page and whatnot. Because as you continue to scroll, there's more and more. Oh, this is a template. Oh, this is a template. Oh, this is a template. Because then you get to the bottom and you're like, oh, wow, there's a YouTube link. There's an Instagram link. Let me go click these. Let's find out what Grayson Entertainment has done. Then I click it and voila, it takes me right to the platform in which this website was created, Wix. Shout out to Wix. I've used Wix on and off for over 10 years. I love that platform. However, it started to click. Okay, this is an unfinished website template. But then when I scroll to the bottom, the footer says this company's, or at least the website or the company, I can't tell which year the company started because at the bottom, the website says 2018. So in my mind, did you create this website in 2018? I did go to Wix to try to find this template, but it is an older template. So that doesn't mean anything. It just means all that means to me is that it could have been that he created this website in 2018 and I don't know, stopped playing around with it and just left it and just hit publish and didn't care that maybe someone at some point would find it. At any point, this is clearly a Wix template. None of the links work because they redirect you back to a Wix domain, back to their platform. And then, yes, because there's more. If you continue on, I've already told you guys the catalog is all templates and placeholders, so nothing real. Then I go outside of the website because I'm like, okay, let's do some real investigation here because this website clearly is not leading me down any road with any real answers. So I'm like going through all of my pipelines when I'm doing like a full thorough investigation. So I sometimes, for lead generation and data scraping, I will use websites like Zoom Info, which essentially is not an official user case to like say, oh, this is a true statement about this company. It's more so it populates information based on what that person or individual or company has put out on the internet. Okay. So it will populate things based on what it can data scrape around what you've given it, if that makes any sense. I know I'm a little bit of an internet computer techie nerdy person, so I get into all of that crap. But nonetheless, that's not the important part. The important part is that the populated information for Grayson Entertainment LLC populated some interesting information. First of all, it says there's 11 to 50 employees and that its revenue is $5.2 million, which just time out right there. If your production company is bringing in $5 million in revenue, how on earth are you ever behind on paying back any of the child support? Or why didn't you pay for the funeral or medical costs for your child's brain cancer that you seemingly didn't even spend a lot of time with your child when they were dealing with that horrific situation? So then the mom had to put out a GoFundMe. Tamra and Teddy donate to the GoFundMe, talk about it. You and Gretchen get mad because it was brought out, but you don't turn around and say, well, I did cover this and here's the receipts to prove that. No, you just keep deflecting and saying it's not true. Well, what is the truth? Because all the things point back to you didn't pay for shit. But over here, it's saying your production company brings in a revenue of $5 million. So you're either really cheap, don't give a shit, or both. But if that's also true, then why is it that Gretchen's paying for everything? Everything's in her name. So that doesn't add up to me. Now, again, this is data scraped information for the most part, because again, it's populating what that company has put out on the internet or the interwebs. Okay. So I'm not saying by any means that any of that information is true, at least for the employees part, because when we go back to the website part, on the team page, because yes, there is a team page. He has a team, folks. There is clear stock photos of people that have pretend roles at this, I'm going to say it, fake production company. Actually, I won't say it's a fake production company, but I'll get into that later. The people on this team page outside of the photo of Slade Smiley, they're all stock photos. They're all stock photos. You can Google reverse image search all of them yourselves. You will see they all have worked for multiple businesses' websites and been loyal customers on so many health and wellness sites. They hold a lot of hats, these people on his team. Okay. There's one in particular, Andrew, that's on there. I've seen him in so many different templates and stock image categories of things for people. I now don't even have to even worry about that stuff because quite honestly, stock images do not really sell the story, if you will. Stock images in general, to me, seem very low grade. Like I wouldn't trust a website that just had stock images. And you can tell that they're stock images. And that's why, we should move away from that. And that's why I do a lot of my stock imagery through AI. Which if that's ever something you want to do is just stand out. If you don't have the budget for that, AI is the way to go. That's a perfect way to use AI. Anyways, back on track. There's nothing that I could validate about this company and it bringing in that $5 million. So there was nothing that could validate that outside of Zoom info. And again, data scraped. So there's an address attached to the business as well. We love that over here, Georgio says, investigates, as I call myself in this mode. We love an address attached to a business because it lets me go and be able to cross-examine both, see who owns the business, and then cross-reference to seeing how it's attached to the business and who owns the business or who owns the address. Sometimes it is the business, sometimes it's not. One good example of this was when I did my video on Ryan from OC, the name of the business that I believe his partner allegedly was using was the address that Ryan resided at, which at that time was kind of like the preview of the remix as to what went down. Because as we know now, Matthew Boyer is going to prison for his bookie crimes and all the stuff that went on with that. But the address listed for Grayson Entertainment LLC is in Van Nuys. Now, I've had to redact the address, obviously, because I can't give out people's addresses. But when I go and look up the address in Van Nuys, it comes up as the owners being two people that I could not at all. And that doesn't mean that does not, and I just want to be clear here. That does not mean that because I could not validate the connection between this presumed couple, I'm just going to say, because it's a man and woman who've owned this house since the year 2000, I believe they purchased it. Now, their names are the ones on this, like this address. They own this property. That's what's out on public record. Grayson Entertainment LLC is somehow attached to this address. But again, I can't find the connection between the people that own and live in this home and Slade Smiley. So that already became like a huge red flag because outside of checking IMDb, going through all the avenues of, trying to see is, Grayson Entertainment attached in some capacity to any of these networks on any of their projects? Because again, he lists networks, not specific projects, which is also kind of like boilerplate. It's not really giving you any type of like to say, CBS. Well, what show on CBS did Grayson Entertainment LLC work on? You're just saying CBS. So it's kind of like this. I would think you'd want to be specific. Are you saying you Grayson Entertainment worked on every show on CBS? Like also with Bravo TV, which Bravo TV show did Grayson Entertainment help produce? Now, there is one title that he lists on there as being something that Grayson Entertainment worked on. And that was something called the Texas Rise, I believe it was called. It was on the History Channel. So great. There's an actual working title that is out that I can go and validate. For sure, his Grayson Entertainment LLC production company is going to be listed in the credits, because no one could be this, like, the audacity, right? Why would someone go to this great length and then now we're going to name a specific title that our production company allegedly worked on? Of course I'm going to go check it out. So I checked it out. I went down through the credits. I went through everything. I even went as far as pulling up the production companies that were affiliated with this one show, and none of them from A&E to the two production companies that did work on this show or the History Channel or any of it, none of them are affiliated or say anything about Grayson Entertainment LLC. Okay. Is that a shock that he would make that up? No. Is it a shock that in his mind, he really probably found a way to justify whatever it is he wrote as part of his credentials on that bullshit ass website that is not finished? Because when you go to a different page, it's still the old template. It says GSL Originals, and then it's just a placeholder paragraph that says, I'm a paragraph, please edit me. And it's just one after the other. It's joke after joke. But it's like, then you go to his LinkedIn, because yeah, I went to his fucking LinkedIn. He says that he's had this production company since the year 2000. So which one is it? You had it in the year 2000, you got it in 2007, or 2018. Like, nothing connects. There's no press. There's no, if someone's bringing in $5 million in revenue through their production company, you for sure are going to hear press, because they're going to put out press to let everyone know that they're wheeling and dealing. That's how it goes. There's nothing out there, guys. There's nothing out there. Oh, sorry. There is one thing. Grayson Entertainment did produce a podcast with Slade and Gretchen that is available on Amazon. Yes, that is a legitimate thing that Grayson Entertainment LLC did produce. So it's not all lies, right? I guess it's considered a production company if you produced a podcast series. I don't know who needs to hear this, but for anybody that is still on the fence about whether or not you think Gretchen and Slade would not have tried to flip this whole script around on Katie to make her the fall person because they ultimately just want to get at Tamra, I am very concerned for your perceived reality on what you're seeing play out. This is all validated information, by the way. So for anybody that thinks this is a Team Tamra job, like someone put me up to this, no, my friends, this stuff is already out there. And I don't need Tamra to tell me that this is suspicious. I have a brain. I've looked into everything that I can look into pertaining to this production company. But you want to know the real kicker? The real, like, the best part, if you will, of it all? I just wanted, for good measure, because I love to just make sure everything is dotted. I went into the California Secretary of State website and I looked up this LLC, because I started to be like, is this even really a registered LLC, or did we just make the whole fucking thing up? Because at that point in my search, it was becoming a big possibility that that's exactly what we have here. It's a fake, made up LLC that's not even registered. So I said, let me just, you know what? Let's push it all the way home and let's go to the California SOS, Secretary of State. For all of you out there that ever want to check on any business, just go to the state's SOS. And you should be able to find something there. You should be able to search. Nonetheless, Grayson Entertainment LLC. I type that in the search bar and I hit search. And I'm expecting something to come back saying, sorry, we couldn't find anything under that name. But it did populate something. So he did have, and I'm saying did because that's past tense for a reason. He did have a LLC called Grayson Entertainment, except it is not, it's not active. It's suspended FTB. And I know these terms now because when I did the Ryan deep dive from OC, the FTB suspended thing came up a lot because he had a lot of different LLC businesses that kind of fell into that suspension. So essentially, one thing we can validate is Slade started this LLC in October of 2007 because I can see the initial filing date here. So that's valid, okay? But it's not a production company that's still working because based off of this, it's suspended, which means you cannot work under that business until you've paid back everything that is due. And more likely than not, it has a lot to do with taxes or interest and penalties of things that were not paid and have accumulated, much like that child support tab of his that he will never pay back. But we are actively acting like you are this full-fledged production company and you've got the wheeling and dealing. It's all bullshit, guys. It's all smoke and mirrors. What else do you want? This is who we're going to bring back for season 20. Gretchen and Slade of Grayson Entertainment LLC that is suspended with a bunch of fake films and docs in a catalog on a website based on a template that is actually duped from another website because another domain outside of the US used that same template and kept all the same photos of the team members with the titles. So, okay, I don't need to ask Gretchen who pays for what. I think that speaks for itself, no? But this solidifies to me that they are not just liars. They are actually delusionally believing their own lies. So everything that Gretchen's saying that like Jen has mimicked, because I do believe that Jen is getting her sound bites and being media trained by Slade, unfortunately. They're all saying the same things. Oh yeah, Katie believes what she's thinking. And no, that's not what I said. That's not true. That's not this. That's not what happened. Well, then what is it then? You know? So it's just like, good fucking luck at the reunion with this information out there. And let the respective smart parties that get their hands on this info use it. Because if we want to sit and be up on the couch calling people liars, let's not do that. And this better be a 4-part fucking reunion because this is way too much to unpack. I'm so sorry. I know everyone's pissed off at OC right now, myself included, the way things have kind of sorted themselves out. But I'm not going to be satisfied with a 3-part reunion that we gloss over the important shit. No, we want to dig in. Why are we allowing someone like Slade and Gretchen to come up on the screen and continue to put out lies or old news or things that were debunked like a decade ago? The sex tape between Jeff Timmons and Tamra Judge allegedly at the No Hate campaign thing, that's so stale. But it does mean one thing, that Slade is a scary person for a number of reasons. But this whole website situation, this disaster of a fake production company is scary because that means you took time out of your day to write lies about a company that ultimately was probably allegedly just a ghost company for you to hide money in. And then when that didn't serve you well because you didn't pay the taxes on that, and then you became suspended. So now Gretchen really is fucked and she's going to have to pay for everything. And you will never get married. Not legally. We know you're married spiritually. But I don't think Jesus came to that wedding, if I'm honest. All right, guys. I don't want to overwhelm you guys on a Monday. That was a lot. I know. A lot of audacity, but it is a big piece to this puzzle for season 19. We are coming up to the reunion. They're going to film it here in the next few weeks. So I hope the ladies are locked and loaded and ready because it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be ugly. So don't think there's going to be anything outside of ugly. Let's be prepared, but it better be 4 parts because we have a lot to clear up.
We need to talk about this.